The price is only going up with these 7 players, starting with Igbuka. This guy's literally Nvidia stock. Like, his price is doubling every single week. The latest reports that we have coming out of Tampa are one that Chris Godwin is actually going to be activated from the PUP list, which I read that and went, oh, thank God we need some Godwin in our lives. But there's a massive asterisk. Adam Schefter said the dude's still not going to be good to go until October. So we can sit here and we can say, okay, well, what? You have a solid month without Chris Godwin in this offense. And then we go over and we look at what is going on with Jalen McMillan, and McMillan's now missing 8 weeks given the neck strain. So all of a sudden, this is an offense where you have 2 wide receivers and 2 wide receivers only. That's going to be Mike Evans and Igbuka. Now, obviously, it's not like every offense is guaranteed for 2 wide receivers to perform well in fantasy. It's not like I'm sitting here and going, oh, Cedric Tillman, you absolutely have to draft the dude. He's the wide receiver 2 in Cleveland. We know the Cleveland Browns offense shouldn't have a ton of passing volume and you shouldn't be that excited. The Buccaneers offense is going to be very different because we go back and we look at last season. Baker Mayfield was 3rd in the NFL with passing touchdowns at 41. He was 3rd in the NFL with passing yards with 4,500. He was 5th in the NFL in passing attempts, 2nd in the NFL in completions. And this was all done with Chris Godwin missing the majority of the season. So we can confidently project out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to be one of the higher passing volume attacks in the NFL. We can now say that Igbuka is going to be an every down starter from week 1. And we go over and we look at his prospect profile. And while, yeah, the production doesn't pop off the page, like his best season ever, he had 1,100 receiving yards in 13 games. You obviously have to take into the context of the situation that last year he played with Jeremiah Smith. 2 years ago, he played with Marvin Harrison Jr. 3 years ago, he played with Jackson Smith-Njigba. 4 years ago, he played with JSN, Garrett Wilson, and Chris Olave. So with his time at Ohio State, he's played with 5 number 1 wide receivers in the NFL. Now he only has to go up against 1 with Mike Evans. So overall, I think Igbuka is set up to absolutely smash. I moved him up to wide receiver 31 in my rankings right now. And obviously, I'm going to have to absolutely grind my little booty off tonight to make sure that we can post the updated draft sheets for y'all on Friday. And those will be out very, very early. And Igbuka will be much higher in those than he was with the previous editions. Now, let's move over to another player that we've already talked a considerable amount about, and this is going to be TreVeyon Henderson. So every single video that we put out saying, oh, TreVeyon Henderson, great pick round 5, absolutely love this dude, take them and throw them in the garbage. In the Flock League this past weekend, we saw TreVeyon Henderson go at the beginning of the 4th round. And what we're seeing with current ADP trends is TreVeyon Henderson's ADP just followed exactly what we did with our rankings last week, where I moved TreVeyon Henderson ahead of Breece Hall. Now, I understand we have comments saying, Mason, you said you did that on your rankings, but I'm looking at the draft sheets and Hall's still ahead of him. The draft sheets get updated every Friday. My rankings on flockfantasy.com get updated pretty much every single day. The issue is there are 50 draft sheets, so it takes me about 8 hours to do all those updates, where with just the general rankings on flockfantasy.com, I can do that in 5 minutes. So there I'm tweaking them constantly. And with TreVeyon Henderson, if we are going to go ahead and look at his prospect profile, which I've showed you 1,000 times now, the best comparables that we have are Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Jonathan Brooks, Derrick Henry, Kenneth Walker, Nick Chubb, DeAndre Swift, Quinshon Judkins, and Zach Charbonnet. If we're looking at the FS grade on the prospects page. Now you can go ahead and say, well, is this a 100% accurate grading? How solid is the FSE prospect score? I wouldn't have brought on the Fantasy Stock Exchange if I didn't think that they had the best prospect model in the entire space. It is extremely solid, but I think they could even be underestimating TreVeyon Henderson here. And the reason is he had to share the backfield at Ohio State with Quinshon Judkins. Quinshon Judkins goes at the very top of the 2nd round. So this is very similar to you go back to Georgia and you can say, oh, Nick Chubb was a 2nd round NFL draft pick, but he had to share the backfield with round 1 pick Sony Michel. So you would want to give Nick Chubb a benefit of the doubt, very similar to what I want to give with TreVeyon Henderson here. So once we get the priors confirmed of TreVeyon Henderson absolutely balling out in the preseason, of course, this is somebody that you need to be quick to adjust your rankings with, given the context of the situation and given how high the upside is with his rookie profile. Now, obviously, if you want to see all the updated draft sheets, all the updated rankings, It's all on flockfantasy.com. Those draft sheets are going to be updated every single Friday until the season starts. And the rankings page on the site, I'm going to be updating every single week, both with our rest of season rankings as well as our weekly rankings. Plus, on the site, you can go ahead and link your fantasy football league, get the updated power rankings of everybody in it, see what positions you need to address, see what waiver wire moves that you need to make. And we have those awesome tools like the prospects page, the player comparison, the range of outcomes, the trade calculator, the trade finder. And if you're not already a member of the site, it's seriously the best deal in fantasy football. It's $34. It's not even a subscription. It's just a one-time payment. And when you use code FLOCK, I'm going to be answering your start sit questions and your trade questions in the live stream that we're going to do every night during the year. Now let's move this over and talk about Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, who I know I've been mentioning all week long, maybe because I'm just pumped I got this dude in the last round of my drafts. And if we are looking at the updated ranking of him on the site, I recently moved him to RB34. This is going to be right behind Jordan Mason, Jalen Warren, Travis Etienne, and right ahead of Brian Robinson, Zach Charbonnet, Cam Scadaboo, J.K. Dobbins, and Javonte. Now, I know that there is this quote circulating where we have the head coach coming through and essentially saying that Chris Rodriguez was going to have a role in this backfield. And no disrespect to Chris Rodriguez whatsoever, right? I mean, I'm sure that Chris Rodriguez is a phenomenal dude and he is better at the game of football than I am at anything in my entire life. But realistically, they are not moving on from Brian Robinson because of Chris Rodriguez. Realistically, if Chris Rodriguez was a great NFL running back that they wanted to get involved into their offense, they would have already. We go ahead and we look at this dude. He is currently going into the third year of his NFL career, and he has had a total of 86 carries. He has averaged 3.9 yards per carry. He has had a total of 3 targets, and he's going into his third NFL season. So even though, he made a play in the preseason, even though, the coaching staff is coming out here saying that he's going to have a role, realistically, I would say that if you're moving on from Brian Robinson, it's because the running back that we've been hearing rumors about all offseason, that Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, a.k.a. Bill, is the guy running with the ones. He's the running back that looks like he has all the juice in this backfield. We were hearing this crap back in June. I was ignoring it because we always get the drum beats of, day 3 random bum running back looks good in camp. Like 99% of the time, that's nothing. But when does it turn into something? It turns into something when the drum beat is just louder and louder and louder and louder and louder as the season goes on. And then we get the action where the team moves on from the veteran running back to give the rookie the job. And you can't ignore that. I mean, what we can do is we can go back and look at Isaiah Pacheco as the perfect example. Isaiah Pacheco was another one of these running backs that was a random day 3 bum that when we first got the initial reports that, this guy looks great in camp, what do? I ignore him. Who cares? And then those beats just continuously get louder until he is the starting running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. So if they do indeed move on from Brian Robinson, in my opinion, it's not to vault up the running back that's going into his third season that's had 3 targets ever, that's had 86 carries ever. It's probably so they can feature the rookie running back that everybody in Washington's talking about. Now let's move over to not a rookie. Let's look at somebody boring. Let's look at Keenan Allen. With Keenan Allen, the reason that we are having to move him even higher in our rankings, higher than where we initially did with the Los Angeles Chargers signing, is we have a couple different things coming out of Chargers camp right now. One, Trey Harris currently is out with tightness. Trey Harris is dealing with kind of a soft tissue thing. I don't expect it to be a massive deal. I don't know if Trey Harris misses any time week 1, but realistically, for the rookie that was struggling in camp, it's probably incredibly important for him to get all the reps that he can, and right now he's not getting them. And 2, the big Q, the guy that I have put so much money in on Underdog Fantasy drafts, he got carted off, concussion, brutal hit, week 1 status is unknown. So right now, with the way that this is thinned out in Los Angeles, it looks like Keenan Allen's the last guy they have standing. And what we saw is they're going to get Keenan Allen on the field. They're fine bouncing Ladd McConkey to the outside. That way, Keenan Allen can play on the inside. And honestly, I would assume that Keenan Allen's going to be the guy getting the targets in that formation. So Keenan looks like he may be startable. In reality, he's like one of those guys that makes a lot of sense to adjust and target in a best ball draft just because you know you're not going to be getting many zeros. But in your regular redraft league, if you start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, I'm not that excited about him there because realistically, what's the upside? Now, let's move over to Tyler Warren. Now, y'all probably saw that in the Flock League draft. If you haven't watched it already, look up the Flock League on YouTube. Highly recommend it. I would say you're probably going to see the most handsome guy on YouTube in that league. But you will see Tyler Warren get drafted ahead of TJ Hawkinson. Now, that happened right before me. I scooped up TJ Hawkinson at a value, and I was very excited to do it. But it just goes to show the hype that Tyler Warren has right now. And if y'all remember early in the offseason, Tyler Warren was my most drafted player in Underdog Fantasy drafts. We absolutely love the value, and we scooped him up every chance we got. But what is so compelling of what's happened for Tyler Warren over the past month of the season is, one, all the camp reports that we got that they were lining up Tyler Warren literally everywhere. I am pretty sure Tyler Warren's played wide receiver, running back, tight end, left tackle, center, punt returner. He's played everything for this team at this point. They're doing anything that they can to get him involved in this offense day one. The second thing is, you look at the preseason usage with the starters. You know who played every single snap? The rookie tight end. His involvement, his rookie season, is going to be exactly how Brock Bowers was involved. Not from a talent perspective, not from a target share perspective. Now, maybe that does happen, but I'm saying more so from the snaps on the field. Brock Bowers got to the NFL and he was immediately used on every single snap, every single down for the Raiders. That looks to be the case right now in Indianapolis with Tyler Warren. I'm not saying he's as good as Brock Bowers. I would be very, very shocked if he has the same rookie season. I would also be very, very rich if that happens. But the second thing that is beneficial to Tyler Warren is going to be the announcement of Daniel Jones being the starting quarterback. Now, don't get me wrong. I was kind of hoping it was Anthony Richardson. I've taken Richardson in best ball drafts. And at the same time, I just think from a content perspective, it would be very fun to see Anthony Richardson out there. I'm not a Colts fan. I mean, why would I care? But with Daniel Jones, we can be realistic and say that he is going to, for sure, be the better option if you are wanting fantasy points for the wide receivers, the tight ends, and the running backs in this offense. And now I'm not saying that the Colts would 100% be scoring more points overall. I don't know. But what I do know is if Anthony Richardson was the starting quarterback, a higher percentage of the points that they scored would have come from Anthony Richardson running the ball himself, both with the rushing yards he'd pick up as well as the rushing touchdowns. So transitioning that to Daniel Jones is a great thing for all these pass catchers, especially Tyler Warren. Now, the last guy, I just want to remind y'all, Braylon Allen, I recently had to move up to running back 41. I have him right in between like Tank Bigsby, Trey Benson, right ahead of somebody like Ramondre Stevenson. Braylon Allen looks like he is now in the group of elite premium handcuff backs, where if James Conner were to go down, I think Trey Benson would ball. But also, if Breece Hall were to go down, I think Braylon Allen would as well. And also, there's an outside chance that Breece ends up getting traded and Braylon Allen goes nuclear that way. But I think that's all I got for y'all with this video. I, of course, am going to be getting these updated sheets out for y'all on Friday. So if you're not already a member of the flock, I'd highly recommend hopping on now before the price goes up. It's $34 one-time payment. You get access to literally everything until January 1st, including weekly updated rankings, rest of season updated rankings, and at the same time, all the tools on the site such as Trade Calculator, Trade Finder, My Team's page, the whole 9 yards. Plus, if you use code FLOCK, I'm going to be answering your start set questions and your trade questions in the live stream that we're doing every night. But I think that's all I got for you. I really appreciate you and really hope I get to see you out in the live stream sometime soon.